So I wanted to find a way of expressing who and what I was and what had happened to me, and I have this background in overcompensating for not being able to relate to people, which I do through theatre, which is what you're watching now. I remember we met, didn't we, at a wonderful play, and getting you all laughing and saying all the right things always creates a scenario everyone else subscribes to, so you're safe, and they don't realise you couldn't care less. Because if people realise you don't relate, then they don't like you, because then you're atypical, and there are only simple things compared to you. That's how bad it was. So I wrote this book, Guerilla, Aspies, a Neurotypical Society Infiltration Manual. It teaches you how to bully, seduce, manipulate, and coerce if you're autistic. Otherwise, be normal. And then I put this show together in 2015. So this is the 5th year of it. And there's an awful lot of material in it, so much so that I have actually split it into 2 parts. And we begin at the beginning of this year with a play. Well, we're going to come back to it in the second half, called, what was it called? All in a Row. What was it? That bloody puppet show. Sorry? Is that what it was called? Yeah. More of that later. And Tamsin is up there with a mother who we shall be meeting later on, incarnate as her anthropomorphic personification, her higher ideal, her alter ego, and perhaps superego, because I am going to use tonight to liberate and emancipate an autistic person to be who they really are through the use of this. I don't have an alter ego, I'm just a big mouth autistic fellow. Okay, first of all, what is the show? As I explained, I spent nearly 15 years post-diagnosis meeting as many people on the spectrum as I can. I got a job with the National Autistic Society where I spent about 6 years running around terrorising. Is that thing on? Good, thank you. Or egomania. It's going to be out of focus anyway, because I can't stand still. But the reason I have records is because I'm getting on a bit, so we've got these records in the future. Everything is advocacy. T-shirts to show. Everything is advocacy. I needed to bring a certain model of being autistic into existence in the world, and that's really why I'm doing this. Apart from being a drama queen. No comorbidities. This is a positive show. If you want the pity porn, you want the boo-hoo, I'm autistic and there's certain things I can't do, as opposed to being not autistic when you can do everything and your life is perfect and you don't have anything to worry about. Yes, everybody defines us by deficits. Do we have to define ourselves by deficits? Everyone's got deficits. I'm on top of my autistic nature. That's how I can do stuff like this. I'm not perfect. I know, it's incredible. A lot of other people, their nature's on top of them, and they are disabled by being autistic, and it's technically a disorder. Do I qualify for disability and disorder? I don't think I do. It's relative to each autistic person, but we will touch on people who insist on having absolute values in the world of autism. Oh my God. Journey through a list of characteristics universal to autistic people. I'll try and take views into our world. And you've got to give me feedback on how to improve the show. If you don't like what's going on, tell me, and I will change it. Stop the Scouser, come from Liverpool, that's why I say, use, and it won't work. Aha! First thing you need to know is you can just walk out. It's alright. This is Sir Isaac Newton. He had few friends. He kind of lived in a world of his own. He rarely talked to people. He would forget to eat. And he would give lectures in physics in Cambridge. This is beautiful. And people would put their head around the door and you'd go, oh, what about the nobody in the place would be empty. Like a 2-3 hour lecture, he'd just give it anyway. He was down. Brilliant! So don't worry about that. Okay, this is a heckle-friendly show. Yeah. You want to talk to me throughout it, then just talk to me. Autistic people just interrupt, give their opinion. Yeah. It's a good job you don't have that cult. We were having a conversation before, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. It isn't a Remington that he puts together. Tuco, Juan, Pacifico, and Maria Herrera's. It's actually an old Colt. He says,
I thought it was a Colt.
You thought it was a Colt? I think it was a Remington. We'll have to have a look at that later. Yeah.
Colt
See,
maybe.
my new child is very important.
Colt maybe 1861.
Got it. The longer barrel ones. Go back to the black powder models. Autistic, attention to detail. However, you must be warned by law that I am a Scouser with ADHD. Right. Autism, a form of brain profile, typal structure that defines a subset of humanity. Different bodies, different brains. Is that complicated? You're born with it. It's how you are. Is that complicated? There's people make whole careers out of overcomplicating. A huge amount in the world of autism, massive great books on ADHD. ADHD, you're hyperactive, you don't focus, you've got to go with your own energy, you interrupt, you have a certain kind of personality. What's so complicated about that? I'm very, very, very suspicious about all the textbooks and all the formal diagnoses in the world of autism. You should be too. I think by the end of the century, the whole model will be out the door. And autistic academics, and loads of autistic academics coming to the world of academia, absolutely ruining everything in the pre-existing structure. They're going to conferences and laughing at presentations. Great. I was actually at one in Scotland a few years ago that happened. People who have autism had shared empathy, relate to each other's natures as part of a global dysfunctional family. It is the basis on which I got married. I got diagnosed December 2004, February 2005, cruising around the social group, looking for a woman. I found this short character by the singer. She's too short for me. I need somebody about my height. I'm generally quite physically dangerous. But little did I realise, she was a weight trainer. Thankfully, she went to the gym. And she was a teacher. It's great. She's an A-level chemistry teacher. It's like being married to Walter White. In terms of autistic community, I've got a trophy wife. A science teacher. Brilliant. Our eyes met across a twitching room. She said, I don't write to anyone. I said, me too. We married within 2 years and never have anyone around the house. Mwah. Okay, we're usually seen as eccentric, disabled, having it. Oh, isn't it wonderful waking up in the morning, being defined by crap like that? Why can't you just be defined by yourself, which is what we want to be, because we're focused around ourselves. What does it mean? Selfism. What is all this group and other business? It's not natural for us. We have an autistic household. There's the wife, myself, and the cat. 3 neurodiverse people. Right. Be suspicious of the term. I've already gone over a very great deal because every show is partially improvised. The good guys, the hereditary properties of a race and a kind, that's positive. If you're going to be autistic, if you're going to have disorders and disabilities, why not be positive about it? Or disorder, medical, technical, seen from the outside in a contentious point of view. Now, many of us need to be calling ourselves disabled and disordered. We feel we are. We need that to get support and understanding. We need that to relate to ourselves, because a lot of us don't like being autistic. And we need to use this kind of language, because it's all relative. Have you noticed? There's always somebody prettier, somebody uglier, somebody taller, somebody shorter. I'm a Buddhist, you see. That's my attitude. Then there is the overarching tyranny. Working honestly, you've got to be clear. I'm just getting a sense of the range of the Bluetooth, of functionality. We live in a tyranny of competence in our society. We've always got to be strong, intelligent, sexy, capable, be able to do things, got to bring home the bacon. As Andy Warhol said, Andy Warhol filmed the Empire State Building for 12 hours, put it on a wall, repetitive art. Andy told me that. And then we have the bad guys, we have the real nutters. I could do a whole show on those people. Anyone know something wrong with one of? You see, if you're really autistic, you'd see there are 3 T's and you'd be going mad. My wife, I wrote this book, 105 words. She said, what do you think? He said, that's spelt wrong. No, what do you think? Grammatic error here, Paul. She was like, oh, what's wrong? No, it's bloody autistic. Yeah, there are people who think it's brain damage or psychosis. I think there is an entire industry going on for the anti-vax movement, deliberately manufacturing bogus science papers to prove that what they think is true is true. Have you ever heard of medical conspiracy theory, medical science fiction? Remember that, conspiracy theory, medical science fiction. We're going to come to that later. Okay. So what is it like when you're not autistic? It's perfect, isn't it? That's all we autistic people know. It's beautiful when you're not autistic. Nothing's wrong. All you've got to do is remove the autism, like removing the human or removing the body, and everything would be okay. Father, Mother, I'm cured of autism. I can get into groups and bully people. Bully team games. Jesus, so where does it come from? What is it, apart from something you inherit? I don't know. There's various theories. I wish I didn't say that all the time. Chemtrails in the sky due to the government destroying us all. Toxins in the air, water, food, toys. I read like 12 years ago, the loonies were out in force on the internet, and they said it was the Age of Autism website. Have you ever heard of that? There's a group of people who have autistic children who are disabled. They're in a permanent state of paranoid nervous breakdown. And they think there's a government conspiracy to hide where autism comes from, because they're still using this concept of there being a thing, because they use a lot of generalizations. Proper autistics in the audience would be going mad when you use the term autism. We should be saying neuroatypical. Okay, imaginary rope worms we're going to come to later, parasitic worms in your body, right? Vaccines do not get me started. Vaccines cause people. It's a fact, they cause health. All you people here are probably here because of vaccines. It's incredible. All the anti-vaccine people, all those people campaigning, you say to them, excuse me, have you had vaccine damage? Well, no, but blah, blah, blah. You're not, are you? Because if you listen to them, most of the planet Earth should have been exterminated by doctors and surgeons going around with needles, vaccinating them and destroying them. I do wish anti-vaxxers would sort of rein in their claims. Fruit salad, probably the most disturbing for all the gentlemen in the audience, is circumcision. There's a few things in the world that guys really feel squeamish about. Oops. Red meat, chemtrails, oh, go away. Right, first of all, it is not a guy thing. And yet, does anyone know who that is in the picture? It's me with Temple Grandin. I'm the most famous bloody autistic person on the planet. Me! All right. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Dr. Temple Grandin at Reading Town Hall. I had the privilege of meeting me. Have you ever heard of the squeeze machine she's got? This machine, she gets in it, press the button, goes, yeah, she goes, oh, she gets this buzz of getting hugged by this machine. And I didn't have time. I said, look, Dr. Temple, there's something you obviously don't know about after all these years. Can I give you a hug? She didn't have time. Oh, that's another thing I should have mentioned. It's very euphoric and enjoyable being autistic if you get it right, which is why I've deliberately created the conditions in which you could be as you are. Exactly.
Deliberately created what?
The conditions. So you could be too good. Okay, we're going to get back there. Right, this is my good lady wife. She walked around on a second honeymoon. I've done 13 years for her. In one of my t-shirts in the Vatican, would you believe? Bless her. Right, and there's another point I didn't cover. Autistic women have a good laugh at the idea of them being, I've gone through 2,711 calories. I've got a Fitbit. Fitbit, thank you. Since midnight, since midnight. I'm sorry to use antiquated gender archaic terms like ladies and gentlemen, but it's my age. Anyway, that's right, I'll tell you how many steps I've done since midnight later. But autistic women have a good laugh at the idea of being men in women's bodies. They also have a good laugh at women in women's bodies. I think they completely eschew gender archetypes as such. It's about time all that stuff went in the bin. Anyway, the empowerment of the individual is nigh. Right, one is regarded by most people as both weird, peculiar, not like normal people, and having a lot of strange ideas about spaceships and aliens. The other is autistic. Precisely, what do you define as normal? One is an alienated outsider, all alone in a world he does not relate to, behaves in ways that only make sense to him, is misunderstood by others, and abnormally straightforward and honest. The other is autistic. Right. We're all suffering from a certain kind of orientation we don't see. We have to deprogram ourselves and lose like gag reflexes towards genders and sexualities and neurodiversities that we don't understand. And part of the show is to try to make you aware of all these things. Many neurotypicals dislike and distrust single people who say they do not have sex, wear strange outfits, and conduct rituals only they understand. Right. Never mind normal is practically divine to most people. There it is again, normal. Would you all like to become Aspies? Do you want to become Aspies? Well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to turn you into it anyway because it's my show. Good old Sheldon. And his female archetype in the show is Dr. Amy, what's her name? Thank you. And the woman playing has actually got a doctorate. They brought in. See, in Buddhism, there's actually a feminine to every masculine, but you never hear about the female. The Sephas, like Tara, is about the only one you ever hear about. So it's the same thing with Big Bang. Thankfully, they balanced it out. Okay, become utterly rational. Anyone know who that is? Robbie the Robot from Implant 1956. Very good, very good. Okay, we're very much drawn to science fiction. I wonder why we're drawn to science fiction. Could it be because of scientific fiction, which was invented by Hugo Gernsback for hobbyist magazines, for all these men, usually single, like little crystal radios in the 1920s in America, and they started producing a magazine for them, and he started writing stories just about machines doing things to people. Great, Steve Silverman mentioned it. Okay, it's all binary, our feelings are either one thing or the other. We're very intense people. None of this wishy-washy business. We're being utterly emotional. We are absolutely there or absolutely not there at all. We either love something totally or we don't at all. You want the people with the most integrity, that's us. And they say, we're weird. You always know where you are with us in a relationship. Alan Gardner, he's okay, he's had a heart attack, he's got a pacemaker, another synthesizer fanatic like myself. This is Robin Stewart. Robin's now on her second book, The Autistic Female's Guide to Periods. No one has ever written a book like it. She's researched about 100 women to put it together. This is the Independent Woman's Handbook of Super Safe Living on the Autistic Spectrum. Again, 150 women to talk to. It never existed before about 4 years ago. Autistic females have probably been around since Homo sapien, possibly Neanderthal. That's a lot of tens of thousands of years for autistic females not to have a book like that. You have now. That's how bad things have been. Change. Right. You've got this idea in your head. You've got this snapshot of a single thing that happened. It could have been good, it could have been bad, it could have been neutral. Some single incident. There it is, a feeling, a thought, a sound, but it's loaded with emotion. Emotion is on top. It's a trigger. And this thing goes down in your head. Think about it, think about it. You forget it, you think about it. But then you keep thinking about it. But then you can't stop thinking about it. And it just goes round and round. You're trying to get on with your daily life. But still this bloody thing is repeating and repeating and repeating in your head. And you can't switch it off. You're trying to go through your life. So you've got this perspective of your mental activity and your life. So you've got who you want to be and what you want to do. And there's a separation between that and what's going on in your brain, how your brain works. And this is a very important concept of the consciousness of autistic people. Isn't that awful, that bloody noise? When I was 10 years of age, I'd wake up, I'd have about a minute's silence, and the binary counter would start 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and it would go on and on and on. Non-stop for years on end. I didn't know I was autistic till I was 41. So I had to learn to cope with this constant OCD cycling in my head all the time and try to get on with the work in school. And I've built a whole personality around that, which is why I'm able to do this show tonight, because I'm one of those few people who's very lucky to be able to get on top of his nature and perform. Now, if you know about the interventions and therapies, like, dog training, ABA, well, there's no pre-test to determine if you're like me, you can get on top of it and make on it. Or it'll give you post-traumatic stress and it'll screw you up. That's what you need for all these things, is a pre-test to make sure that the person's guts can handle it. Because most autistic people aren't like me. They're just vulnerable people. They're ordinary people. They're driven into the ground by all this stuff. But still, they bravely carry on as their non-diagnosed parents surely did.